Before I met my wife, I was in a relationship with a girl for 5 years. It's ended with her cheating on me with my best friend. And then they are getting together for about 5 years. All my other friends continue to mainly hang out with my ex-girlfriend and ex-best friend. So I felt like trash that everyone threw away. I wasn't in a great place when I met my wife, and I'm sure that contributed to my stay, even when I could tell that something was off. I cut my friends out for about 10 years. Now I see one of them, but just at social gatherings that involve mutual friends of ours, none of which were from the original group. Not sure about my ex best friend, but things turn out terrible for my ex. She's very unhappily married with one child. My sister just gave me an update on my ex the other week, coincidentally. Her husband plays game all day and won't help her. Her mom moved down close to where they live to help out, and my ex is always complaining to her mom that she doesn't help enough. I also think I was afraid of abandonment issues. Therapy is starting to get into this issue. When I was 2, my father was sent to prison for 7 years, and according to my therapist, I became terrified that if I did the wrong thing, people and the society in general would like to banish me. And that pretty much tracked my understanding of myself throughout my life. I first met my current wife 10 years ago. The first year was amazing. She gave birth to our first son, and after that, the dead bedroom started. She was pressuring me to get married to her, and I thought the problem in our relationship is because I don't trust anyone because of my ex cheating on me from my previous relationship. So I proposed to her thinking that it would get better. She was asking me to, and I thought it would help with the dead bedroom. Bad idea. Few months after proposing to her, we were in our living room when I saw a text pop up on her phone. The text was from her ex-boyfriend asking about her whereabouts. I confronted her about it and threatened to call off the engagement. She showed me their text correspondence, and I didn't find anything sexual, just both of them checking on each other occasionally. Although it seems like a lot of texts have been deleted. After she claimed innocence, I had no proof of infidelity, plus we share a son together. We almost called off our engagement. I should have walked away then, except I wouldn't have my son, and he's truly worth everything I went through. Over the next few months, she did things to make amends and prove to me that she loved me. I decided to get married to her. We had a big, expensive, beautiful wedding. Honeymoon in Hawaii, everything she asked for. Then after the wedding, things went downhill. She started to withdraw intimacy and would always give excuses why she couldn't be intimate with me. We would fight about it all the time. I would tell her it felt like she didn't love me. I was being cheated on, not the first time, so I knew the feeling your partner gives off when they are done with you and yearn for someone else. She would tell me I was too needy and say, why was she with me if she didn't love me? I would tell her empty, loveless marriage are common and I didn't want to be in one. But in the end, I would stay. Repeat this for the next few years. We eventually bought a house. I was reluctant, but she was pushing it. I would tell her how the way everything was going made me reluctant to take the next step. Buy a house, have more kids. She would just insert the thing she was pursuing into her argument. If I don't love you, then why do I want to get a house with you? Trying to get pregnant by you. Close quote. I never really had an answer, except that she was unhappy with herself and afraid to be alone. Our bedroom life had grounded to a halt, and we would go weeks without having excess. Then one day, out of the blue, she initiated excess, something she normally wouldn't do. She was trying to get me to choke her. First time she has ever done this. I thought it was something new. Maybe she was trying to spice up our relationship, so I went along with it. We went from plain vanilla excess to her wanting it rough. Our bedroom life picked back up, like before we had our son. Then all of a sudden, it dropped off, and she started making excuses again. I thought something was wrong. I noticed that she was texting a lot and was guarding her phone. When she sleeps, her phone will be under her pillow. Realizing that she was hiding something from me, I snatched her phone out of her hand when she was texting and ran over to my friend's house next door. And she ran after me, screaming for me to give her phone back to her. I shut the door in my friend's house and videoed all her text messages with my phone. I am glad I have the video, but I regret reading a lot of it. Turns out that she was having a full-blown affair with someone she knew in high school and recently went out of state for a few months, which was why she started initiating excess with me. I returned with my friend as a witness and told her to leave our house, and she did without incident. The text I read was so graphic that they run across my eyelids all night. Now, when I try to sleep, she was so enthusiastic. I am okay with it being over. It was a terrible marriage, but the way it ended is a walking nightmare. I always felt like a placeholder, just waiting for some guy that's actually lit the fire to just come and casually take her. And that's exactly what happened. In the meantime, I was building a life for her, but she just used what I built like a ladder for herself. Super cold, but looking back, all the signs were there. I will be able to apply this lesson to my next relationship, which is good, but I will never marry again. Don't want any more children than what I currently have. So she definitely took all that away from me forever. When I think of my son and how terrible it all was, I feel strong. But when I'm alone, especially at night, my mind keeps imagining the two of them together. As much as I try to push it out, I can't seem to. During the week when she tried to get me to choke her in bed, then finding evidence of a full-blown affair on her phone, December 1st. That whole choking thing was more like beginning of September. And yes, it was a huge red flag that I missed 5 months later. So I know that he dominates her. And that really gives my imagination ammunition to use on myself. I have to preface this with, I would never hurt myself, but at night, I want to die. I know in the end, all three of us would be better off from the divorce. But it's really hard right now. It all happened at the beginning of December. I immediately told her to leave when I found everything. Update: it is almost impossible to push away, especially at night all alone. The first time so far that those thoughts entered my mind, and I was truly able to say and feel like who gives a F in a healthy way, was the day I posted my story in the dead bedroom sub. That was definitely the motivation behind me stumbling into this sub and posting. I have been struggling again over the past few days. A lot of it has to do with the settlement. I am working on getting her to sign it and agree, so I am placating to her. This includes FaceTime calls that are supposed to be about the parents, not with her having access to him, where we basically act like family again. I have put in boundaries for the FaceTime calls now. My sister administers the phone when my son is with me, but the ones that are the other way around still end up like I described. It takes a lot out of me to put up with that act and then feel zero self-respect when it is done. She could take me to the cleaners if she wants, but has told me she had no intention of it and will sign off on all the marital assets that are mine. I feel stuck until she sings. I have hired a lawyer and we have started the process of drawing up the settlement. Update: yeah, I will be shooting for no contact with my ex. She is continuing to F with me and can't be trusted to even be appropriate and respectful during the FaceTime calls we are making once a night, so we can each have contact with him every night. The other night she called, and when I saw the screen, she was all done with makeup, and I heard a deep voice at her new apartment. I agreed not bad-mouthing her, just going for no contact. Paternity test, check. STD test, check. My lawyer has drawn the settlement. My ex is reviewing it now. She said she would be finished reviewing by Monday, but surprise, she's dragging it out. We are still amicable on the surface, but we specialize in that all through our relationship. As soon as she signs it, I will explain to her I want zero contact outside our co-parenting apps I will use to communicate schedule and any other info that should be known. Sickness, medical anything, bathroom frequency, last time he had Miralax, or any meds we need both to be aware of, etc. I started therapy and joined a gym. The gym is going great. Therapy is off a bumpy start. The first therapist I went to, I didn't like. The second is way too expensive, but I did like. The second also has appointments like once a month. So I am going to keep going, but also look for another soon. My relationship with my son has transformed in a very positive way. I know later on I will have to return to being more of an authoritarian, but right now he's 3 and he and I are best buddies. I put so much more effort in everything, feeling pretty hopeful, definitely having a very dark moment every single day still. My ex got drunk one night and tried texting me. I didn't even acknowledge the text. I have my sister helping me to handle all communication with my ex for now. So her desperate text just sat at the bottom of our text log, front and center, for a couple of weeks. I did text her myself regarding the separation agreement. So now it's no longer just sitting there. It was a picture of her crying, and she texted me the word baby after it. It effed me a little, but now it feels good that I know she had at least an effing moment of regret because she had never expressed any regret or apologized to me. I showed my friends her text, and it confused a lot of them. Sitting in bed one night, I had a revelation about the picture she sent. That was not the first picture she took of herself crying that night. She's obsessed with pictures on Instagram and on Facebook and how everything looks instead of the actual substance of anything. The reason I put crying in quotes and it was so confusing to everyone is that probably the first picture she took was her actually crying. I am sure she decided that one was not okay to send. So she probably sent like the 20th attempt, which at that point, she's just posing sad, but trying to look alluring. She's a sick person, just broken inside. Things are looking pretty good right now, but that could change if she tries to change too much in the separation agreement. Fingers crossed. It's hard to believe I live in a place where she can go and pull this SHT like having an affair, and yet she's the one that gets to decide how she can take me to the cleaners. I highly doubt I will ever allow myself to get married unless I relocate to Saudi Arabia. Their punishment for adultery is pretty severe. Winking face. I already threw her out as soon as I found everything. She agreed to leave and walk away from all the marital assets. We are sharing 50-50 custody, and I have hired a lawyer who's working on drawing up the settlement. I am about to call the lawyer to check in now. Here we get the settlement signed. I intend to make sure her entire family knows what she had done. Update. We just finished signing the last of the divorce paperwork. I kept all the assets that were mine, bought her out of the house, and we are sharing 50-50 custody of my son. I am far more engaged with my son every moment I am with him, and with almost every aspect of my life in general. Been keeping my promise to myself to hit the gym. I have abs again, visible abs, and after 2 therapists that didn't fit, I found one that is helping me navigate the mess that is life. My sister and mom moved in to help me keep my house for my son. That presents some challenges, honestly, but with the help from therapy, navigating those challenges is not as bad at all. They both loved me and my son, so I just need to work on the way I approach any problems we have as a household, and problems become way more feasible and not so extreme. My business is really starting to thrive this year, so possibly in a few years, they can figure out more permanent living arrangements. I am currently sleeping on a Murphy bed in my living room. I gave them the 2 of the 3 bedrooms, and my son has the 3rd. It's been super helpful and supportive to have my family with me through the hardest thing I have ever went through. I am eternally grateful to them. I dated a girl for a few weeks, but after it became obvious she was going to keep pushing for monogamous relationship, when I feel like me being ready for that is years away, I broke it off with her. She was really sweet about it, which made me feel even worse at first. But it was important to me to look out for myself and my son, and not just bend over someone else's needs. It was a good first step for me to grow and eventually finding another relationship, almost like a behavioral exercise. I am scared to trust anyone, but she was sweet. And after I started to get anxious about the way things were going, I spent about another week talking to her and then broke it off based on what I thought was best for me. So it feels like progress. Here is the text message I received from her. I know I kept my text very short with no emotion last night, thinking that was good enough for my half, but it isn't. I wish I could say I was surprised, but unfortunately I am not. A woman's intuition is never wrong. I respect you for not wanting to drag me along if you're not really ready for it. As much as I do respect that, I gotta say it's definitely frustrating. I think after this separation and divorce process, you didn't expect to hit it off with someone so soon. That text you sent, I know has nothing to do with me. That's you battling with your own things, and I get it. But you found someone good that I don't think you were expecting so soon. Someone to support and make you feel good about yourself again. I don't think you're scared to get hurt and scared to trust again. I think we both feel pretty similar about each other. and that scares you, so you're cutting it off. By all means, you do not have to respond if you don't want to, but I just had to express that. I'm here, and you don't need to run. Figure your things out, and if you want to try again and start afresh with me, that offer is always on the table for you. You were a gentleman till the very end, and I will never forget that. You still are an amazing man, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. That was the text she sent me the day after I told her I didn't think we should see each other anymore. She's nice, but just wanted immediate attachment. I explicitly told her I didn't want that at this point in my life, but it seemed like she saw that as a challenge or obstacle to overcome rather than a genuine constraint. Now that my ex signed off on everything I needed her to, I no longer feel the need to bend to any of her wishes either, and have felt very comfortable putting my foot down when it comes to requests she has about our son or otherwise. I feel great for the most part, most happier, and keep getting compliments about how I look, more fit, and just happy in general. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up so YouTube can promote my videos. Thank you and